Good evening to you all. Let me see. Hey, Ernesto. What's going on, Renee? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. We're here for the Harvey meeting of the cow. Hello, Jim C. How are you? If y'all would, please hit the like button, share, subscribe, all of those things. We are live at the Harvey Cow Meeting. I'm actually in a different position today, so let me stop. This is probably the best position to be in right here. How y'all doing? Hope y'all are doing well today. We are at the Harvey Cow Meeting. Let me tell you what is about to happen. Casbrick is here again with no copies for the public for this presentation that they're about to give. That is their standard MO to wherever they go. They behind on audits. They don't give you no copy of what they actually gonna be presenting tonight. So there's no copies for the media or for the public, as usual, as their MO. Okay? So you come in to give a presentation to the public with no presentation to give to the public. Clock it. Clock it. Okay? So they are in the building. Casbrick, I'm gonna show them to you. Okay, so Casbrick is those two guys sitting right there in the gray shirts. I don't know who this is tonight. I don't know which one of the Casbrick group this is. Them two are, but that's them right there. Okay? And like I said, you came to get a presentation to the public with no copies for the public. Make me understand how that makes sense. But the public pay you. So, I mean, that's another thing we'll have to talk about at another time. But that's them right there laughing because they getting their 60 G's a month and going to play golf with that man. So they happy to be here making 60 grand a month and not even bringing the public any copies of the so-called presentation. That, I mean, do I got it right? I think I do.
No paper copies?
No paper copies.
I didn't see any.
Yeah, no. But you hear for a presentation. So you better give a presentation to the public about what? About the finances. Then we should have a copy of what you're talking about, right?
Is it the audit that they have?
Yeah, that's the audit. That's the audit.
Okay.
So how do you
Yeah.
not bring copies of what you presented, right? So we can't follow along.
Right.
And we don't actually know if the numbers you're telling us is correct, because we,
Right.
as per usual, because the comptroller didn't give us nothing. So now they've been instructed to give us nothing. You can pay me to do that. Because I would be like, oh no, I got copies here for everybody, don't you worry. And when they be like, no. If you want a copy, see me, because I'm not going to lose my CPA license because you playing with the public. So here you go. Because eventually we're going to get it anyway, right? On the comptroller's website. So what's the difference? If you can't get us to us now, what you changing when you go to the comptroller?
Sure.
That's what I'm saying. Right? I mean, that's the, that's what it's given. I can't say that's the case, but that's what it's given.
Yeah.
So this is weird that we cannot get in copies of anything. We ain't get no copies from the comptroller. We ain't get no copies from them either. Don't forget them sports cars. That too. Renee 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8.
Hey, what's happening? Come on, I got something on my good too. Turn the
So that's where we at today. That's what we doing today. Here today for the cow meeting. It's supposed to have started at 5:30. I don't know what time it's gonna start. Roger that, Big Mama. Roger that.
Very unique family.
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
One of my favorite actors was paramedic. But I like him to cheat on her. When you gotta be faithful like a male nurse, they get swear it'll be all along. Like that, he was forward in there. So I think you guys were one of the ones they offer you to represent the cats. Word. Actually, yeah, I'm retiring now. I retired when I was 41. Okay. So I started working when I was 16. Basically, we had the guys about like Rick Cruz, some police officers that was in the fourth floor. We had those guys. And it was always something about them not wanting to take firefighters for certain things. Have you ever took those classes at Paul University? When you file a grievance, it really helps. When you take those classes, they show you how to get a resolution to your grievance. But sometimes you write something down, then you need to get the money to ask for it. Then after that, it stalls itself. It's like, hey, I wrote that, what's up? So you have to take that out to your free attorney. That's you pay your dues. You don't pay for your representation.
Big Mama, you need to keep your phone on because I need to call you on my way home, Big Mama. Big Mama, give me a confirmation that you hear what I'm saying. I need to call you on my way home, Big Mama. So keep your phone on. You ready now to do our Girl, I've been ready. I got a funeral this Saturday over here in Harvey. But you work on Saturdays now, right?
Right now. Let me know that.
Okay. Oh. Okay. I wish I had that type of money. I don't know why they're late. All of the, I don't see the clerk. Well, the deputy clerk was here. I saw her.
Good dude.
Oh, did you find him?
I did.
I did too. This isn't the main city council meeting, but I thought I would so I had some questions anyway.
Because they have to Casper to go do an audit presentation with no copies for the public.
Oh no.
There they go right there.
Okay, so that's Mr. Caspera.
No, that's not Mr. Caspera. That's two representatives from the Caspera group.
Oh, because it said on the sheet that there was actually supposed to be like one of the actual Casperas. So they decided not to do that.
Of course they did. I mean, why would they do that? Huh? Why would they do that?
So this is the committee of the
Hey,
whole.
Deb Hill, how you doing?
Oh my God, thank you so much for sharing. Otherwise, I would not have known about these meetings. Very helpful. Thank you.
How are you?
Always even in the Spanish.
I know Glennis did that.
What'd you say?
I said I know Glennis did that.
Yeah, that's very nice.
I've never.
Alternate channels. How is it that the spare is here?
So you can buy and sell cameras.
Yes. Well, we just wanted
Okay.
to see if,
Okay.
that line. I'm sorry.
Could that be a question that somebody could ask? Oh, okay. Ask that question when you go up there, Ron. She said, why they don't have
The uniform guidance report.
okay, uniform guidance report and why there are no copies of the audit for the public.
Yeah, that's what I like to see.
Because they didn't have it for the township meeting. You know, this is the second.
By the way, did you ever read? I read through their audit, and I went over it last night on my live.
Did they put it on the
The audit was
website?
very poor quality. I'm sorry, no, for the township. No.
Yeah, but did they put it on the website? I didn't think so. And is that the correct one? Because if you look at mine,
Actually, there is one on the website, but it was all like staff reports from like Robert and then the people that were working under Tiffany. And to me, it didn't look like there was any analysis. There wasn't really much there. It was just like regurgitating Robert
okay,
Hunt's
so
stuff.
if you go to my line, if it's not that report, because I put my thing on the screen for the whole thing. If it's not that one with all of those slides, that is not the audit, whatever is on that website.
Okay, I have to
So
look
I'm
again.
gonna put in
Because
for,
I checked, remember when the lawyer told me, he said, well, you weren't here, you missed the meeting. He said it's on the website. So I went on the website and I actually read everything. And I said, this doesn't really answer my question. Basically, all they were doing was taking what Robert says, and to me, they just copied it. And then it even said at the beginning and at the end, they were basically like, we're not guaranteeing this. And I was like,
yeah, but that's not even the one,
audit.
that's not even the one they presented.
Oh, okay, because then maybe that one wasn't online. Is that like a PowerPoint?
Yes, so
I never
that's
saw
why
that.
I'm gonna go.
So the lawyer lied again.
Yes, and so I'm gonna turn it into the public access and say
Do it.
this, and I'm gonna send screenshots of the one I got from my phone. This is the audit. We are looking for that it's not that we are requesting.
Because, Mr. Ledzinski got snippy with me. He was like, well, you weren't here, but it's online.
That
So I'm
was
glad you
that
got
was the
that.
meeting you missed. That
I
was
know,
the
and I'm
meeting you
like,
missed.
well, I'm sorry, but that doesn't mean that, it shouldn't be available for people. People are crazy. They be crazy, let me tell you. Yeah, and I gotta check my reception. For some reason, sometimes my reception's not really good.
Yeah, because I wonder if they're gonna put this one up on the screen. I bet you they're not. Because at the township, at least they put it up on the screen, but they're giving us one copy.
And that's not right. Yeah. I mean, come on, guys. They can't just hide this stuff. I'm kind of glad they're running late though, because I was ready.
Yeah. It's always like that.
Oh. French says, tonight Clark resides. Okay. I don't mind that.
Tonight he gonna come out looking like Sammy Sosa. I'm gonna be so weak. Oh, the lady that live in Southampton. That be taking the work, the home, yeah.
Where's Vivian tonight? She must be busy. Yeah. I think she was at the
I just didn't read it yet. This is usually this is a funny looking. I got the big lens with the tiny.
What happened to them?
I still have it. It's in the car. This is a new pair.
One is like 3 times the size of the camera.
I'm like, that's interesting. But whatever worked, right? How does it work? Hey, Wyoming guy, how you doing? I mean, they got big old box over there. I'm just mad because they got big old box over there. Do they got copies in it?
Yeah, I mean, it
You
needs
know
its
what I'm
own
saying?
chair.
You would think there was copies in there, but wait a minute, he could pick up something. Let me see, he could, yeah. This got to be fun. No, the mayor not here.
It's a committee of the whole. I don't know if he's gonna be here for the committee part.
Well, he should be.
I know he should be, but I don't know if he's gonna be.
What his assistant is doing. But he always long out. And if you don't come, so I don't know why he didn't call his meeting at 6:30. He ain't gonna talk about it. And just go right into it. Hey, Mr. Irvin. Good. How you doing? You too. To you too. Glad you made it. You probably slept through it. Okay. I know that song. Is she about to make an announcement? No, but I wish she. Never mind. I don't know. Oh, they about to elect the chair for the meeting because the mayor not gonna be here. Look like. Well, we know who it won't be. It won't be Kobe and it won't be Tracy. They just had to elect the chair because the mayor won't be here. A pro temp.
I'm not going to be here. You said something.
Well, they should be saying this stuff out loud with a mic so we can hear you.
Yeah, because we can't hear. No, you're right. I'm tempted to yell that out.
Tell them, Ryan, say, speak up, we can't hear you. So they elected Dominique. Yes. So they have elected Dominique Randall L. to be, I know that's right, Big Mama, to be the chair tonight. Although we did not get to hear that conversation, that's what happened a few minutes ago. So the mayor won't be here. So they elected a chair, but they didn't say it out loud. Maybe he'll explain what happened for the public once he opens the meeting.
Sure would be nice to get it.
They elected a chair and didn't tell us.
So yeah, it would be nice for the to have Dr. Grant out in the chair because the mayor's not here. So but it was so quiet.
And look at what they gotta do. They gotta tell him what to do because this dude don't even know what to do. You elect a person who don't even know how to be a chair. Fix it, Jesus. This who y'all be voting in? Y'all gotta stop this. Y'all got to stop. Okay, he hardly never here. Y'all gotta stop this. Y'all have to stop.
Okay, the time is now 5:54 p.m. We'll call this meeting, Committee of the Whole meeting to order. Ask for a roll call of all council members in attendance.
Alderperson Shirley Drewinski. Present. Alderperson Colby Chapman. Present. Alderperson Talani Smith. Present. Alderperson Tracy Keith.
Here.
Alderperson Randolph.
Here.
Alderperson Rogers.
Present. Okay, thank you very much.
And Mayor Clark.
Thank you all for being here. Unfortunately, the mayor will not be able to attend tonight. And in situations such as this, we ask council to elect a member to chair the meeting. With that being said, I'll ask for a motion.
Motion to elect Michael Ellis to chair the meeting.
Motion made by the third, second by the sixth. Roll call.
Please say aye or nay after I call your name. Alderperson Shirley Drewinski. Alderperson Chapman. Aye. Alderperson Talani Smith. Aye. Alderperson Keith. Alderperson Randolph.
Aye.
Alderperson Rogers.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Thank you. Now I ask any volunteers to do the invocation of pledge of allegiance. Would you please?
Yes. We bow our heads in prayer.
Oh, no, he can't pray over me.
Gracious Lord, Heavenly Father, we petition your throne of grace today. We're thanking you, Lord, for bringing the city council meeting back to the city of Harvey. We're thanking you, Lord, for a plan year. We're thanking you for prosperity and health. Lord Jesus, we ask you, Lord, to watch over this meeting, guide every heart, every mind, and every tongue. Lord Jesus, so we can better take care of the business of this great city. Lord Jesus, this is our prayer. We ask it all in Jesus' name. Amen. Amen. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you very much. As we move to item 4 on the agenda, I'm going to ask the council for a motion to amend the agenda, allowing 4C to become 4A. Is there a motion?
Motion. Second.
I misunderstood the person who made the motion. Motion by the second. I'm sorry. Yes, motion by the second and second by the third. Yes.
Alderperson Drewinski.
Yes.
Alderperson Chapman.
Yes.
Alderperson Smith. Yes. Alderperson Keith.
Yes.
Alderperson Randall.
Yes.
Alderperson Rogers.
Yes.
Thank you all very much. With that being said, let's start the presentation about the audit for 2022. Please take the mic and introduce yourself. Tell them a little bit about yourself and the company.
Hello. So for those who don't know me, my name is Kyle Casper. I am the audit manager at Casper Company. In addition, I have my colleague, fellow JKC audit manager, Stephen Shield, present, and we're the auditors for the city's year end, April 30th, 2022. So you may recall seeing me back when we presented the FY21 audit, as this is now the second year of our firm has presented the FY audit for the city. So I'll be going through is the audit of the city of Harvey as well as the Harvey Police Pension Fund, both of which we are engaged in the forum services for the year end, April 30th, 2022. I'd like to start off by thanking members of the city council, city management, and the rest of the city staff. They all worked very hard fulfilling our requests, and we appreciate everyone that was involved. So before I get into presenting the city's annual financial report for the year ending April 30th, 2022, if possible, please hold from asking any questions until the conclusion of the presentation. All right, so City Council, you should have the bond report in front of you. After flipping through the cover page, you will see the report's table of contents, followed with a listing of principal officials of the city. Page 2 starts your financial section of the report, where you'll find your auditor's opinions. The opinion tells readers how reliable financial statements are and whether they present the entity's financial position fairly. As a general overview, there are 4 types of opinions, ranging from the most favorable being unmodified to the least favorable being adverse. I'll briefly explain each of the 4 opinion types as it relates to the section of the report labeled Summary of Opinions, again found on page 2 of your annual financial report. An unmodified opinion means that the auditor found no material misstatements in the financial statements. Financial statements are presented fairly in all material respects. During FY22, we issued an unmodified opinion on the Debt Service Fund, Capital Projects Fund, TIF 1, and TIF 2 funds. A qualified opinion means that the auditor has found certain issues or limitations in the financial statements, but believes the overall financial statements are still a fair representation, except for those specific issues. During FY22, we issued a qualified opinion on the motor fuel tax fund and aggregate remaining fund information, which includes the police pension fund. Third, a disclaimer of opinion means that the auditor cannot express an opinion on the financial statements. Disclaimers often involve a combination of significant issues, such as scope limitations, lack of sufficient evidence, and uncertainty. During FY22, we issued a disclaimer of opinions on the governmental activities, the business type activities, general fund, and the water fund. The 4th and least favorable opinion would be an adverse, which means that the auditor has found material misstatements in the financial statements to the point that they do not present fairly the entity's financial position. This opinion type was not present during the FY22 audit due to the fact that all material misstatements identified were proposed to management and would be subsequently posted to the city's books as adjusting journal entries. So that's a little background on the 4 different types of opinion. I wanted to go through those because when you see your report, you're reading through it, it's good to break those down. And again, this is for the fiscal year ending April 30th, 2022, for your engaged to report. Moving through the report, page 3 is where we further explain the specific matters that led to the qualified and disclaimer opinions. The bottom of pages 3 and 4 discuss the responsibilities of management, as well as responsibilities to the auditors, which means that, followed with pages 5 and 6, which discuss the required supplementary information, also known as RSI, supplementary information, also known as SI, and other information, which is found in the table of contents. And these 3 sections will be identified throughout the course of the presentation. Moving through the auditor's opinion, pages 7 through 15 consist of management's discussion and analysis, also known as the MD&A. The MD&A is unaudited, but provides a narrative overview of the financial statements, including comparisons to that of the prior year. The MD&A also helps readers understand key trends, significant changes, and management's perspective on the city's financial position and operations. Following the MD&A starts the basic financial statements. Pages 16 through 18 consist of the government-wide financial statements, which provides a comprehensive overview of the city's financial position and operations. These statements combine information from all the city's funds and presents in a single entity, which including both capital assets and long-term debt obligations. Together, these statements offer a clear, consolidated picture of the city's financial condition and how its resources are being managed over time. I will point out that on page 18, the city's net position has improved approximately $6.5 million during the fiscal year audit. Pages 19 through 24 presents the governmental fund financial statements of the balance sheet, income statement, and reconciliations for arriving to the previously mentioned government-wide financial statements. The individual major funds are presented here, and you will also see a column for the non-major governmental funds, which are smaller other governmental funds, and you will see that detail as we progress throughout the report. I would like to draw your attention to pages 22 and 23. This consists of your revenues, expenditures, and changes in fund balance for all governmental funds. During FY22, the city's revenue exceeded expenditures by approximately $2 million, thus lowering the cumulative governmental fund balance deficit of approximately $35.5 million to $33.5 million. A significant improvement compared to FY21, which had a net change in fund balance of approximately $55,000 for governmental funds. Pages 25 through 28, this presents the proprietary fund financial statements, consisting of the balance sheet, income statement, and statement of cash flows. The water fund is presented as the sole major fund, with the non-major enterprise funds consisting of the sewer fund, commuter parking fund, and Pace Bus terminal parking fund. Here, I would like to draw your attention to page 27, which consists of your operating revenues, operating as well as non-operating expenses of all proprietary funds. During FY22, the city's revenues exceeded expenses by approximately $860,000, thus improving the cumulative net position of approximately to just over $6 million. Again, another significant improvement compared to FY21. In that case, in FY21, there was a net change in fund balance of approximately, it's actually a net reduction in fund balance of approximately $600,000. So if you look at those 2 years and 2 years span, the proprietary funds had a cumulative change in net position of $1.5 million positive. So you have to look at the upside side. I know the financial picture, you look at the grand scheme, it may not look as ideal, but these are highlights of the fiscal year audit, so I wanted to point those out. Because as we're going through everything, there's a lot of upsides to look at, despite being FY22 and catching up periodically over the course of this year. Okay, moving through the rest of the final part of the basic financial statements as it relates to financials. Pages 29 and 30 present both the city's pension trust funds. So we were engaged to audit the city's police pension fund, and there were different auditors engaged to audit the city's firefighter pension fund. The detail of the police and fire pension funds are then broken out on pages 118 and 119 of the report. So as we get through, you'll see those, but I wanted to say that includes both of the police and fire pension funds on pages 29 and 30. 29 being the balance sheet, and 30 being the income. Now, the next part of the report, pages 31 through 72, this consists of your notes to the financial statements. The notes provide essential details and explanations that support the amounts and disclosures in the financial statements. They offer a context about the city's accounting policies, significant transactions, and compliance with laws and regulations, while helping readers gain a clearer understanding of the city's overall financial picture. So I will not go through that section of the report in detail, but after reading it, if there are any questions, feel free to reach out to me for clarity. Again, a lot of this language carries over from the prior year. It's required disclosure information, but feel free to reach out for any questions as they arise over time. Page 73, this structure requires supplementary information, again, also known as RSI, for the pension funds, and concludes on page 84. These are additional required schedules for reporting of changes in pension liabilities and related ratios, employer contributions, and investment returns. Pages 85 through 86 are the budget to actual reports for the city's general fund and major special revenue fund, motor fuel tax fund. Followed with notes to RSI on page 87, which discloses the budgetary procedures of the city. The next section of the report starts with supplementary information, and this is the most detailed section of the report. It begins with the governmental funds on page 88, and concludes with the enterprise funds on page 117. So again, as I mentioned, this is the most detailed section of the report. This is where we account for each line of city budgets. Where we start with showing the budget, it would be original and final because there were no amended budgets during fiscal year 22. Followed with the actual for the current year audited. Actual again being April 30th, 2022. The variance, so is the budget over or under? You'll see that as the third column on the page. And then the fourth column are the prior year audited financials for comparative purposes. Again, we audited the fiscal year 21, so now you have both years. I know it's still a couple years back, so timely financials is key, but I wanted to point those out because as we gradually catch up, and you could use that as budgetary purposes down the road on seeing where line item adjustments can be made in the future. Right. Page 118 to 119, this consists of the police and firefighter pension trust funds. Page 118 is your net position, also known as the balance sheet. Followed by page 119, which is the related changes in activities, so additions, subtractions to arrive at your ending net position. The last section of supplementary information consists of the city's consolidated year-end financial report, as required by the Illinois Grant Accountability and Transparency Act. I will point out that the city was not subject to a single audit. In fiscal year 22, these federal expenditures did not exceed $750,000. If the city was subject to a single audit, there would be a separate standalone report referred to a uniform guidance report, which the city did have in fiscal year 21. Pages 121 to 125, which concludes the annual financial report under the section labeled Other Information. And this discloses the city's long-term debt requirements for outstanding bond and debt issuances as of April 30th, 2022. So, before I get to any questions, I want to point out that in terms of the annual compliance filings, the city's FY22 annual financial report has been electronically filed with the State Comptroller's Office on the website. Other services that we were engaged to perform for the city during FY22 consisted of preparing the TIP compliance reports. There were 8 in total. Emailed to Administrator Spring Davis for submitting to the state as well. And then lastly, submitting the city's annual debt disclosures to Cook County. And I communicated with Lewis and getting those, getting the account set up, because the last debt disclosures were by several years back, so a new username had to be created, and the time frame is, so for clarity, the Cook County debt disclosure ordinance requires taxing districts to submit financial statements to the county treasurer within 30 days of the publication of the most recent audited financials. The most recent audited financials were published on December 31st, 2025. And then the due date for the FY22 debt disclosures, therefore, is January 30th, 2026. So I'll work with Lewis on getting those uploaded. Those have already been prepared, and we're just doing our best to get the city caught up and looking ahead in the future. So that's That's all I have. Are there any questions?
It was my understanding that due to prior obligations that he wouldn't be able to take questions. That's why we made the motion to move into the front. Are you still able to, or Mr. Williams can do so?
There were a couple of questions I gave you.
Yes. When I directed to you, I can answer.
Okay, that's good then.
I had requested that any questions you have, so we would be fumbling with, be submitted in writing, and, Alderman Chapman did submit a couple of questions that, Kyle would address.
I will do my best. Okay, so, referring to the section labeled 2022 audit, correct, Louis?
Yes.
Okay. Question 1 stated, why does the FY 22 audit state that management cannot provide support for any debit card transactions, despite this being flagged in the FY 21 audit? So there was support provided. It's not that done word, and I can tell you in 22 there was a significant improvement, but there still was missing information in our sample, and there's missing that really was unable to be provided. Some of it could be due to timeliness. We're looking back 4 years, but I can tell you part of our sample, we just randomly pull a selection. If the selection's not provided, we'll ask a couple of requests. But I mean, in terms of context, I mean, yes, it improved, but it still was enough to point out in the audit report. Okay. Question 2. When was a formal payroll and fringe benefit allocation methodology adopted? And why do the auditors report non-existent as of FY 22? And Louis, do you want to shed some light on that, on the past, just because?
Yeah. You're right, they issued not payroll from it, it's fringe benefits. So what happened was, normally, when you get an insurance bill every month, Blue Cross, and bill one, normally human resources and reviewing the bill does an allocation by department. That wasn't done in months, which we don't want to spend a lot of time doing it, basically 12 months of bills going through it. So we just passed on it. Not that the numbers are not in there, they've all been miscellaneous appropriation. We are working toward being able to trying to find a quick way to allocate those expenses. But again, they're just 2 times.
Just to piggyback off of that, so this was back in 2022. Today's date, are we correcting that?
We are trying to work to correct that, and it's been with the earlier question on the debit card transaction. I can tell you what happened in 22, because all those kind of in and out of the part behind it. Controller's office moved from upstairs to downstairs, and stuff should have been properly scanned into the system, which is the process we go through now, as a matter of fact. And to give you some idea, this is some grand amount of money. We fund that debit card account to the total of about $2,000 a month. Some months it was cashier, Christmas, or doing the breaks and stuff like that. And the deposit stuff just wasn't scanned in the system. Because we don't maintain any paper copies of invoices. The accounting system allows us to scan those bills in. That way, if you don't ask me for a copy of the invoice, as a matter of fact, the auditors will get access to the system, whereas they begin testing for documentation on the bills, they can go directly into the accounting system. And then not wait to file cabinets like we used to in the good old days, or bad old days.
That makes sense because it's on the backtrack, and now we're still in the process of,
Alderman, you choose mine, so public hearing, you're asking.
I was just saying, this was in 2022, so it's still work in progress, but each year we should improve on that. Thank you.
We're trying to be completely paperless.
Question number 3, right here. See it. Why did the city move from qualified opinions in FY 21 to disclaimer of opinions in FY 22 on its core funds? Well, I can explain that FY 21 was our first year under audit, so part of our procedures is we'll review the predecessor work papers, make inquiries, and as we had more of a comparative picture on everything, our expectations were set. when they weren't met, and we determined it being material. That essentially was our benchmark. So yes, there may have been some more detailed testing, but it also, Stephen also helped with that on evaluating various items from contingent liabilities to amounts owed to other funds. When you look at the grant scheme, is it material? Do they materially mistake the financials? Well, they could, and that's where we have to heighten up the auditor's opinion, because again, we're opining, and we can't just, this is 2022, not everything's gonna be the same. So our auditor procedures took us that direction. We don't know if it'll happen in 23, maybe it'll improve in 23. But that's the best response I can give to that. Okay.
So for context on the opinions, Kyle went through and explained non-modified, qualified, disclaimer. Qualified opinion says the financial statements are fairly presented in all material respects, except for some issue. If our except for list gets too long, we end up with a disclaimer because we don't have enough to express an opinion on. So that's why we went from that qualification only in the prior year to disclaimer this year, because there were more issues identified and we weren't able to be provided support for certain account balances. Any questions?
Yes. Yeah. As you mentioned, disclaimer identifies that the auditor could not obtain sufficient evidence, correct?
Yes, we could not obtain sufficient evidence to support an opinion.
So here, under the government activities, business type activities, general fund, and water fund, these are 4 core operating specifics that keep the city afloat. So I guess my question is today we're approving a budget for 25 and 26. What documented proof exists today that the financial control issues cited in the audit have actually been corrected? And I just want to go back. In 2021, we made a promise, according to the audit, that we were going to have a written internal control narrative, that we were going to have regular control execution, and strengthened financial reporting controls. So in your research, have you seen those things heightened or increased? Since we have 4 disclaimers on 4 core operating funds.
I'll generally let Kyle speak to
Excuse me,
specifics.
will you speak up?
I'll try, I'm sorry.
Okay, thank you.
So as far as internal control narratives go, yes, we were able to obtain more walkthroughs and be satisfied with the internal controls, except for the numbers that were reported in the management letter. We did have 2 different control weaknesses. One dealt with the material adjustments that were proposed in connection with the budget, and the other dealt with a lack of sufficient evidence in certain areas. So as far as the internal control processes go, we didn't have specific weaknesses in internal control when it came to processing payables, processing a payable, recording receipts, the generic significant transaction cycles for the city. But for certain areas we were successful, we weren't provided sufficient information to support our opinion. And part of the struggle there is the time frame that we're looking at. So 21 audit took place, there's only maybe so much that can be done from then to 22, given that it's so far behind. So that's the situation we saw when we did our audit. Expectation will be that going forward to 23, 24, 25, we will continue to see improvements in those years as we get more current, because it's a lot easier to go back 1 year and say, hey, let's fix what happened these past 12 months than it is to go back 4 years and try and remedy another situation. Anything else to add there, Lewis or Kyle?
So I think that, let's be clear, this is not a matter of we've had bills without documentation.
Yes, you is.
Problem is you get, and this is the problem, we desperately need to be where we were 6 years ago. That is audit as quickly as possible, because what happens when you get 25 and you start asking for documents beyond just have proof that these bills are paid. Some they would say if they looked at a Blue Cross Blue Shield, but any bill of a material amount, there was a documentation. It's just when you get to some of the more specific documentation, sometimes after 4 years, it gets displaced.
If I may ask, because Spirit are our auditors, so you all can only audit what you're providing, correct? What are we doing internally, Comptroller Williams, to ensure that moving forward, moving into the 2023 audit, that we can maybe hold to some of the promises?
But we would constantly requesting documentation from the departments, making sure we scan it, another thing, this money going against compensated absence. That's a matter of resources that's provided with that, and we like to talk about the allocation of fringe benefits. These are things that both the finance department gets data on, which you rely on other departments, and you also rely on the flow of information from all the various parts of the city. And what we're trying to do just is, if the board packages and sent out electronically, so it can always come back and pull them electronically. It's got those type of things that are enabling us to have documentation.
Give me one second here. I'm gonna ask that council, please, let's keep our questions to the auditors, so that we can make sure that the public and ourselves are fully understanding this audit. The operational questions, we can ask at any time. I wanna make sure that everybody has a great understanding, thorough understanding of what our auditors have performed and what they're saying in relation to our finances. Respect, I know that we wanna make sure that we're using this information that you're providing to make us better financially. That's one set of, another category of questions that you can't even answer, okay? Because you're not in charge of running the city. So the questions that I wanna make sure that we're getting to them is anything that will help us better understand the audit. Because we get those questions, and he's answering those questions, not only we get it, but the public's getting a better view of what's going on financially with the city.
Hopefully we had a copy.
Yes, residents first.
My experience with auditors. So if you have,
Use your mic, please.
I'm sorry, my voice projects. If my experience with auditors, if you're sitting there looking and you go to the comptroller and you say, okay, I need 10 selection, and you're picking the selection, the auditor has to go back and give you that data. Now, if that data is missing, he cannot turn around and say, oh, we got this to compensate. You just are randomly checking about 10% of each category, correct?
Yeah, it's ultimately to get reasonable assurance.
Right.
You can't get that reasonable assurance, that's where you go down the other paths.
Go down the other. So this is like a percentage of where we're at, but it's not a truly 100% accurate of everything. Am I correct?
Correct, and that's why I pointed out the opinion, the general fund, the water fund, just to let you know, if the general fund's disclaimed, governmental activities would be disclaimed too, because it falls under that. Likewise, if the water fund's disclaimed, so would the proprietary fund. So those are the two that we're holding on. I know those are the two biggest, but again, those are the ones with the most risk and exposure.
For those that are,
One more. The audit is posted to the city's website.
yes, that's what I'm about to say. Anyone, if you have your phone, you can go right here, absolutely. You can go right there, right now, on your phone, and you can follow along with us as well. I'm sorry, I should have mentioned that at the beginning, that we were going through the pages. We're more than welcome to do that now, if you would like to. If you all have additional questions that maybe we're not getting to right now, please reach out to the audit person, let them have those questions, and let them get those answers back to you. Is there any other questions? Recognize all.
Thank you. I just want to ask just a couple of questions. So, during this audit time, all the persons were asked to submit a questionnaire on any issues and any concerns. How was that actually addressed, and was it helpful?
Yes, it helps when you respond. Completeness too. completing all the responses, what we do is we then evaluate, we compare to our testing, and then we may have to test more. We may have to look at areas we weren't aware of. Some of the responses were subsequent to the fiscal year after April 30th, 2022, but still, it's not that we would just ignore, we would still document and make it note, hey, during next year's audit, if this is an FY24 item to be aware of, assuming we're engaged, that's where we'll look at. So they are helpful, they do help us evaluate risk, and they're also required, which is why we often send second, sometimes third, fourth requests, because that's our key audit evidence. We don't have those, and we're basically just driving by them.
Okay, just one more question. When it comes to the general fund, you know, how are y'all able to evaluate that to see exactly how the money is being spent and allocated? Because just saying, for example, you know, alderman expenses is supposed to be submitted in, and the money goes to the street department, or how is it broken down? And you never really, much money goes into the general fund, you never really have a breakdown of where it goes and what exactly is being spent, or even an asterisk on the side. Well, this percentage of money was, well, I want to say took it or placed or whatever from such and such alderman. You know, situations like that. But how do you really be able to determine how the money is being spent?
Ultimately,
when you're doing an audit?
Yeah, a big difference. So you can have a forensic audit where they'll audit 100% and they'll look at all those. Those are optional, may cost 6 to 7 digits, they're not cheap, and they may not tell you something you don't already know. But I can tell you for us, for reasonable assurance, we're looking at material transactions. So there's a chance we may not test all the pending expenses because we have our scope, we have our materiality. If we feel it's not materially misstated, well, we're more than likely not going to test that unless it comes up in our sample transaction testing. So I can tell you, if we're looking at the higher dollar figure revenue and expense lines, because those are the ones that are more exposure to opinion where it turned out where it was. So that is a valid concern, but for our testing, it's all based on within the planning. And if we don't feel that there's a concern that can clearly be stated, well, we may not test that because we're not testing 100% of all transactions. It's physically impossible.
Okay, well, one last question. So moving ahead, the company, the Casper company, will y'all be doing our audits for 22, 23, and so on?
Yes, I appreciate you asking that because it leads into my outro too. So, so thank you again. I look forward to working with you and your team. We have already provided management with our next audit engagement letter, which will be for the next 3 fiscal years, fiscal year 23, fiscal year 24, and 25. So pending our engagement letter acceptance, our team would be ready in a position to start the 2023 audit as early as next month, and that would be February 2026. Following with rolling right into the subsequent 2 fiscal year audits with intentions to have April 30th, 2025 issued by this time next year. Those are our intentions. It goes both ways. It goes with management being ready for us. We got to have our team ready. We have to communicate. We have to properly plan. Stephen's helped a lot to put this approach together. But that's ultimately our plan. And if we get there, timely financials aren't that far out. So I can let you know the engagement proposal has been presented. And we just need to hear back if it's approved, and then we can get it on the calendar and hopefully, again, this time next year, it isn't out of the question to have 3 audits done if you strategically plan, and city management is willing to work with us and get caught up and put the city of Harvey back on the map and look out for the citizens in the best interest that they can.
Council, let's give him a round of applause. Thank you. Sorry, not at this time. You can make a question during public comment. Sir, and.
Are you gonna still be,
But
you
he's-
guys gonna still be here at the regular city council?
Yeah, they're gonna be.
Because I'm just wondering how they got you guys here, they said that you
Sir.
weren't available, and now you can do 3 or 4
Sir.
in 1 year, and it's
Right.
gonna cost us more.
I'm asking council to turn your attention
Right.
to 4, what is not
Right.
being referred to as 4B, presentation of fiscal year 2025 appropriations ordinance. Ms. Williams?
Yeah, and I just, another point from my further on this is we definitely leave, because you talked about our.
Yes.
I would strongly encourage people to go to the state's website or the city's website and look at pages 88 to 98. Gives you a very detailed breakdown of what we budgeted for revenue and the revenues that were brought in. I think on the website, what's going on. It may not be what you want to hear, but it's, certainly, very important. I am going to, just go through the audit, when we ask the audit. I'm gonna go through the budget very broadly, but also I'm gonna address questions,
You actually need email it to you.
what's the questions? And I did ask, people to submit their questions in writing, and I will address to the best of my ability. Alderman Chapman and Treasurer Pickett submitted questions, regarding the, budget, and Alderman Chapman's questions were addressed, directly by the auditors, in terms of, everything that's going on here.
Okay.
First place, just to bring out the difference between audits, some of you guys, for instance, one of the questions brought up was the budget deficit we have projected for the city for fiscal '26. I made this comment many times over the past.
Sorry, Ms. Williams, the budget is available online, once again, for those who want to follow along. Go ahead.
The issue of the so-called budget deficit, and you're really kind of serving two masters. This report that was presented by the auditors is on an accrual basis. And as he stated, I mean, some people may look at it and say, they just reported that you guys had a combined surplus across all funds of $6 million. Show me the money. And that's part of the issue when you're dealing with accrual versus cash basis statement, because it said basically the city's fund balance improved by $6.5 million over the year, but at the same time, I'm projecting out budget deficits for this year. And that's because the budget deficit is more or less done on a cash basis, a modified cash basis. We're accounting for cash that comes in and cash that goes out. As a matter of fact, in the budget, it was brought up by Treasurer Pickett that we had a deficit last year of almost $7 million. But that's not quite true. It's true on a cash basis, but it doesn't take into account that a fair amount of that deficit was driven by the 154th Street project, and that revenue actually came in previous years. And so the money doesn't necessarily always match up. But again, as I said many times, the city's deficit is being driven basically by our pension liabilities. We paid $8 million into the fire and police pensions last year. And that's covering the judgment that goes back almost 25 years, but we finally had to start paying them. We actually had to start paying those deficits out. So it was also asked, what are we doing to decrease the deficit? Unfortunately, we did have to make substantial layoffs in December to bring that budget more or less aligned up. Cash basis budget deficit is targeted at about $3.3 million. Again, that's being driven again by the almost $6 million is being paid by a pension fund. And there are only so many cuts that you can do. But believe me, when we end the year, it won't be a $6 million, budget, deficit. I got some questions to really address in 24 and 25. Why are federal and state grants negative? Again, it's how the money flows in. We actually get the invoice, the money flows in later. So on an accrual basis, when those things come back on an accrual basis, those won't necessarily, they won't be deficits. Why is such a big increase? This is, Treasurer Pickett. Under 4,000, why is there such a big increase in 101-4,000, which I believe is the mayor's department? I'm not sure what the big increase is, but I think it's because we, grouped the liquor commission money that the mayor receives, in his budget. On the special events she has there, if some of the expenditures for special events were being offset, they are offset by contributions to the city that people make to support the special events. The other question was on the police department, account 132-5030, what equipment is being purchased. The city has invested almost $1 million in the crime center, and that is to provide, it's using technology to provide better safety for the city, because we necessarily don't have to have the people come in previous years. Fund 2, she said, why is there less revenue projected in the sewer? Water revenues go down, sewer revenues go down. As you know, your sewer bill is a percentage of your water bill. Fund 52, if the TIF is closed, if there are closeouts in the TIF and there's still numbers that have to be audited, that's why you see we're auditing, we're budgeting audit fees for those. And Fund 80, she went on why went the work descriptions under 580, under Fund 80 for the federal, because they're rolling in all the time. We know about what we're gonna receive. Like in this fiscal year, we received, help me out, $1.4 million for street lighting. 1.5 for street lights, and I hope people see the street lights. And that was through federal funds, so I know they'll Halstead, Dixie, and a number of places there. So that's the problem. We don't know specifically, because we're constantly applying for grants to be able to do those special projects. Just in terms of the overall budget, as you look at the budget over the years and on the spreadsheet provides it all, and it kind of shows the budget. Each year the budgets are really flat. So I got a question from Alderman Chapman about the budget. The $3.7 million deficit, like I said, that's being driven by the pensions. In the fund, transfers to general operations, yes, but not really transfers. What happens is, part of the street department's operations can be covered by motor fuel tax fund, and we do an ordinance each year to tell the Department of Transportation what we're going to actually be doing with motor fuel money. So it does go to, and the motor fuel fund is where street lights are charged to. That's a charge more expensive. Salt is charged to the motor fuel tax fund. And her question is, three was given the projected general fund deficit, which salaries and operating expenses increase in this budget are discretionary, and what specific steps is the controller recommending to slow costs. And again, the city is a service business, so most of our costs are personnel. You know, look at the personnel costs, just the salaries operate the city, the fringe benefits, the pension costs, and things like that. They make up about 80% of the total budget for the city. So cuts, or maybe when people say, why do you worry about people? Well, unfortunately, that's where the greatest impact is. If you take that, you add in the scavenger service, you add the legal, you add in insurance, you got 100% of the budget. Contractual service for the lawyers, I'm contractual, the street park, the building services is contractual. So you add in those things and you add 100% of the budget. Now, here's what the hope is. We're trying to renegotiate the terms of the payments being made to the fire pension fund directly through the controller, bring that cost more in line. It would cause us to have 4 more years to pay them, but it would reduce the burden that we have now of paying those things. If we can get that payout to them under $2 million a year, it basically would put about $3 million more in the city's coffers. And get us close to a budget break even, but also allow us to pay bills that are more delinquent than they really should be at this point for the city. So it's a painful budget, but the budget, year to year to year, if you line up the budgets or line up the audits for the last 10 years, you find the numbers don't vary that very much. And even, I know some about even on the audit, if you look at the audit that was just presented on real estate taxes, it looks like I went off the budget line by $3 million on real estate taxes that we collected. And that's explainable because what happens is the Center Street tip expired. The portion of Center Street tips taxes that will come into the city actually came to the city and didn't go into the tip. So most of this stuff is pretty straightforward. We've had some budget hits. If you look at the budgets, the other thing we talk about the budgets is, remember what the city's primary responsibility is. That's public safety. That's fire and police. They make up the bulk of the budget. Again, it's human resource costs. And like I said, it just gets kind of thrown out of whack by the pension payments. But that's where the majority of the money goes, is public safety. They have the same largest budget. And if you look at their budget versus the rest of the city, police and fire budget together is more than the rest of the city combined. So I don't like deficits, but again, on a cash basis, it's a deficit. I think when all the grant revenue comes in and we do the things that we normally capitalize, like when I budget $500,000 for police department expenditures, that's for cash purposes. I want to show that because it's a cash outlay. When you see the audit, the budget is automatically going to be reduced by that $500,000. Last year's budget at 7.7, like I said, there's $2 million in street improvements that were made that will be capitalized. There was a $700,000 fire truck that would be capitalized. So all those things come together to bring that budget. Again, we've been operating. The city, like I said, if you look at the budgets and the audits over the past 6 years, the city has really surpluses when you take the items and make them capital, our capital expenditures. And if you just want to look at the numbers and say what's driving the budget, if you add the fire and police pension funds back in, you'll see that the city's really not looking as bad. The deficits aren't as bad as they appear. It does cause cash flow issues. But also it's a good part of that, like the police pension fund. We're looking at the 22 audit, obviously about in fiscal 26. The police pension fund went from being funded 46% in 2018 to, based on the actuarial report this year, the pension fund is funded 78%, which is in the top 10% of the entire state in terms of local pension funds. So we're suffering through a little pain now, but long-term we gain in the city. Also in terms of the audits, you see all the 2000 ABC bonds, which were a refinance of the 1990 bonds, all those bonds were paid off as of January 24, 207, 207B. We do not have any bonds that are in default right now in the city.
Okay, so none of that.
first question that you answered, but I just want to reiterate so that the public can hear. My question was, the general fund shows 29.69 million in estimated revenues and 33.43 million in appropriations, creating a $3.7 million deficit. You spoke earlier and mentioned that we're in discussions with the state comptroller.
Discussions with the police pension fund, because if you look.
But monitored by the comptroller, correct? The state comptroller.
Pardon?
Is that monitored by the state comptroller?
No, the controller is just the one that's, state controller disperses all state funds. So what the state is the one that's paying, by court agreement, is paying the pension funds $4 million. All right, so our hope was to get the pension fund to extend the time period over which and to reduce that annual outlay to about 1.8 million.
So then this $3.74 million shortfall, we're over. Is this the discussion
Yes,
to decrease this amount? So that's a plus.
It's
We
being
want to reiterate
driven
that.
by, if you look up in the report, you'll see that being driven by what we budgeted for the fire pension fund, which is $6 million. So without, if we were just paying, again, I don't want to get technical, because I'm talking about normal pension costs versus other pension costs, but obviously if we were paying the pension, we're paying the police, fire pension fund $6 million, we'd have a $3 million surplus.
I have one more question for you, Mr. Williams. How much did our audit cost? The audit that was, I'm assuming that it would be the same cost in 22, that it would be in 3, 4, 5, and now we're going
Not
to.
necessarily.
I see that
We didn't have to have a
identified.
single audit this year. The audit cost us $110,000
Is that what you would say it's going to be annually? I didn't see that reflected in the budget.
within that grant. It's reflecting on the audit and accounting services.
So between now and till 25, 26, we're looking at over about $500,000 on audits. That-
It's
One team, one team, one team.
3 years. About 375.
Okay.
Which is, again, that's a
That's
little, that's a little higher than we would have had 10 years ago, but again, one of the reasons I stated before about the issues behind audits behind is the number of firms that are actually performing audit services now. And that's not a Harvey thing, that's across the state, that, you know, the fees went up.
Chair recognizes the board. Thank you. Mr. Williams, my main concern is, there were employees that were furloughed in the month of December. Is there any money in our fiscal year budget to reflect that we'll have enough revenue to bring these employees back to work, especially water department?
I wish I could make that commitment, but I can't. Because even now, I understand even now, the city has not remitted, the county has not remitted, all of the taxes we do receive on the second installment. Again, we're hoping and praying that it's pretty hard to botch up the first tax bill, because it's not under 55% of the prior year's tax bill, so it's contingent on a lot of things. Believe me, it's very painful to lay off employees. The problem is, again, like, in terms of laying off employees, when it comes back to it, you gotta pay those employees every 2 weeks.
There's another part to this question. You mentioned the the fireman's pension. And I do understand that we're paying the interest rates, we're paying for penalizations, and we're paying fines because we were overdue. Are you doing the actual negotiations with the fireman's pension? And how is that negotiation going? Because $3.5 million would help us if we were able to reduce that interest rate. Was that correct?
Our hope is to reduce the interest rate from the statutory rate, 6%, and stretch out the payments. But again, we agreed to it, because under duress, the state of Illinois, the House and the Senate, the governor signed the laws that said if you get behind your pension payments, that they can get a controller's offset.
We were under court order at that particular time.
Exactly. That's what we're doing at the time, and now we're trying to. That court order goes back to 2014,
2014, I think.
2017 is when the actual order was put in place, but The delinquency in the pension goes back to 1995.
Okay, yeah.
They're
There's
trying
no
to
other
make it
questions?
Kellogg's.
I'd like council to turn your attention to what is now going to be for C, presentation of the 2025 levy ordinance, which once again is available online.
And the great thing I can tell you about tax ordinance, the city of Harvey has not raised taxes in over 10 years. So now that doesn't mean your tax bill won't go up.
Okay,
The city of Harvey's portion of the tax bill, you can pull them up, you can look on the site. The only thing that varies in that budget is how much we have to give pensions, the amount we have to pay the police pension fund, because this better funded has gone down. We shift that money back into general cover. So that levy is exactly what was presented in terms of dollar amounts. If I change rounded some numbers, it would be the same levy that you looked at.
About $1,000.
It's the same levy you looked at for the past 7 years.
4.9.
No, that's not. The total levy is, 15 years. That does not,
Yeah, I'm talking about.
that doesn't include that, right, but that doesn't include debt service. So again, those, tax levy ordinances are on the city's website.
So the city is not raising their
The
portion.
city does not raise taxes. I haven't raised taxes since I began doing the levies 11 years ago.
Mr. Williams, you hinted to this, so just so we're clear and the public clearly understand, for our homeowners, when you get your tax bill, you see there are multiple taxing bodies. What we're simply saying to you is that where it says City of Harvey, we have not and will not raise taxes. It has nothing to do with Thornton Township, Cook Mosquito Abatement, School District 147, School District 152, South Suburban College. They all could easily raise it. And they could raise their percentage they're requesting, and therefore now you're paying more in taxes. However, we do not control those bodies. What we're telling you is, as far as this body is concerned, we will not raise the portion that we control. That tax rate will stay the same as it has in the last 10 years. So please be very clear when you're looking at your tax bill, you see that you're paying more. What I would suggest is get your last year's tax bill and see who went up. Okay? Because it won't be the city of Harvard, but it may be the school district, it may be Thornton Township, it may be South Suburban College, but it won't be us.
Alderman, I can say one other thing. Remember, we do not control assessed values. We do not control, so your tax bill will go up because your assessed values went up. But that's all done by the county. The city has nothing to do with the assessed valuations.
Is there any questions from council?
Yes. Yes. You know, I sent you questions regarding the tax levy as well. On December 12th, and then again, when you requested, but just going back to compliance, statutory compliance. Pursuant to 35 ILCS 200/1815, the city's 2025 tax levy must be adopted and filed by December 30th, 2025, and it would have had to been posted for the public by Wednesday, December 10th. So today, how are we moving forward without providing the public with 20-day notice?
It be published for 20 days.
Had it been published, Mr. Williams?
It's been on the city's website.
Is it reflected, it was here? Was it posted on the door of City Hall?
It was available for inspection.
What date was that? But it was before
Run
Wednesday.
stocks now, if the run stocks now, it is what it is. I mean, we don't have to do public hearings if we're not raising the taxes.
But as far as the notice, according to, this is just what I pulled off of Illinois State statute pursuant to 35 ILCS 200/18-15. It says that the public must be made aware. As a matter of fact, you know who I pulled it from? Conspira. They actually sent an email about it. Go ahead.
Not taking 20 days, you can take 20 days from today.
It takes, so 20 days as of today.
You start today.
Who is she?
I said we can post it today.
So, but we're looking to actually vote on it.
Yeah, then we can't
In
vote
the
on it
next
today.
council meeting, in 1 minute. So I just want to make sure that we're following statutory compliance, and abiding by the state of Illinois, the rules, before we go and vote this evening. And that the public generally has had their 20-day compliance. Because we don't want anyone coming back to say what we did not do, or what we failed to do.
I thought we had posted it prior.
Do you know the date, Ms. Davis? We don't have any official clarity, so that's, I just want to make sure that we're on point like a pencil before we move forward. Yes.
I think we pretty much answered your question.
You can still answer, but if you would like to, you can add.
I would say is if anybody who has a complaint in regards to that compliance, are free to file complaints at the state's attorney's office, and we can move forward with that.
Thank you for your rebuttal.
With that being said.
She did have one other question.
Oh, did she? Okay.
It noticed that,
I didn't know that.
it noticed that, the levy says we'll receive 8 million. The total is $19 million.
Right.
8 million from the levy. The 11 million comes from our state funds and all these other fees and things that we provide throughout the year.
Thank you, Mr. Williams.
Thank you.
No more questions, we'll move on to public comment. You don't have to. Please excuse me, we'll just go, I can't pronounce it, so Ryan will go first, followed by Michael. And I'm not saying your last name only because I really can't read it. So, Ryan, if you want to come up, we'll call that with Michael. Each participant will get 3 minutes. I ask that you would please be respectful of your time, be respectful of yourself and others in your comments. There's no reason to be disrespectful, have name calling, whatsoever. Council is encouraged not to respond. So if you do have questions, once again, follow up with your other person to get those questions answered. They will not respond to you at this moment. Thank you for your time. Okay. Hold on. I don't make sure you can find it, so it comes up.
Can you hear me?
It's on. Can you hear me?
Yeah, no, I can hear you.
I want to make sure you heard when I say, wait till she, the clock up before you start.
Yeah, no
Go ahead.
Okay. I don't see anything.
It's a little small. Go ahead. See?
Oh, I just had a few questions. So I didn't, like some of the other residents were saying, I didn't know that any of whether it be the levy or the audit information was on the city website. But I guess during the meeting, somebody from the city gave somebody else. Anyway, I ended up just pulling it up. So I had some concerns because I was pulling it up while you guys were talking. And again, you know, if we could please make this stuff available in advance, like Ms. Chapman said, it does have to be, you know, we need 20 days to evaluate whether we want our taxes to go up, because usually most boards will increase taxes every year. But as part of the audit, it said, I was concerned, it said, because of the, let's see, Kasparic is talking, we have not been able to obtain sufficient appropriate audit evidence to provide a basis for opinions on the financial statements of the governmental activities, business type activities, general fund, and water fund. So that's a lot of the money that the city spends, so that's very concerning, I think. I think everybody should be concerned. Because if they haven't been able to get evidence from the city to, you know, tell us about that, then that's a lot of missing information. Also, in their report, it said the city has accumulated unassigned deficit fund balance. Okay, blah, blah, blah. The city has borrowed extensively from other funds without an apparent means of repayment. Additionally, the city has defaulted on several bond payments and has experienced ongoing difficulties in meeting its financial obligations. The situation raises significant liquidity risks. So I'm not quite sure why that wasn't emphasized, because that's in there, it's on the first page of the report. Again, that's very concerning. We need to address that. But yeah, the biggest one that I saw was just how they said they didn't get any audit evidence related to financial statements for governmental activity. What's not, it's a government, it's a city council. Like, everything you do is a government activity. So business type activities, okay, the city deals with a lot of businesses, general fund and water fund, like, what's going on with our water fund? I mean, that's really concerning. And then my other question is related to that. So what do we pay Casper for? What do we pay, you know, however much, 100,000, whatever amount of money, if they're saying, well, there's all this information we didn't get from the city. And then if you go on and read the report as well, it said, well, we can't judge whether things are accurate or not, we just judge whatever the city gives to us. So that was my main concern.
Thank you. Can everybody hear me?
Yeah.
First of all, I want to thank everybody for, this is my first council meeting. I want to wish everybody that they had a great holiday session. Okay? Everybody in the room, councilman and everything else, and thank you for letting me speak on this. I'm sidestepping the budget a little bit here. Over in 6th Ward, Mr. Rogers' ward, we'll be getting cameras put up on Calumet Boulevard, on Jefferson, on Des Plaines, and the question that I have in mind for the security factor of it all is, how soon until they are active, how many will be placed up, where are they going to be placed up, only in hot spots, or are they going to be in more areas than just the hard-hit areas of the neighborhood? What else? Because after Christmas, my vehicle was broken into, and there was no camera to be found except for our neighbors across the street. We only got to see the butt end of that. And then I would also like to advise this council, as we have Channel 7 here in the building, whatever comes out of this council comes across, you know, in such a way that if you say our police department is shortened and our fire department is shortened, and you let that information be out too much, the wrong people will come to our town and do whatever they want to do. Set fires, pull all kinds of racetrack moves over on 159th Park Avenue and make a spectacle out of themselves. So it all is coming down to safety. And the other part to the safety thing is too, I didn't mention this, but I'm also a block captain with CJC and his mom and whatnot, that also the Metro project is not completed. The one side, the south side of the viaduct is dark, the fence is down, and what I was told was there was a three-way split for who owns that part of the railroad.
You still have 30 seconds.
Okay, all right. So Metro owns the north half, CNL Canadian National owns the bottom half, and IDOT owns the rest of it. It still has work that needs to be done to it. The south side is not lit. The south side has a fence that's laying on there. When the snow and everything comes, we're in trouble.
Thank you, sir. Can you pronounce your last name?
Cronin.
Okay. Well, thank you, sir. I think if you just stay in contact with your 6th Ward Alderman, most He'll talk about that. Okay, great. We better get you those answers. That being said, there is no more public comment. I thank everyone for who came out today to part of this public hearing, who took time out to share your thoughts and concerns, give your public comment. At this time, I ask for a motion to adjourn.
Second.
Motion by the first, second by six. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Having none, the ayes have it. Please, we're gonna, council, do y'all need a break?
Yes.
Roll right on, okay. Let's do a 7-minute break. That's good. So we'll start back up at 7:20. Thank you.
This is gonna be an interesting recap for this cow because it's gonna be an interesting recap. Okay, we're gonna take this 10-minute break and I'll be right back, okay? So when I come back on, y'all come back on. Got it? Okay, see y'all in about 10 minutes.